A single mistake costs $60 million and 3 lives on an aircraft carrier flight deck. There are no second chances. The written rules and Navy manuals keep operations running, but the unwritten rules, they keep people alive. These invisible laws govern every movement, every word, every glance among the 5,000 sailors living on what is essentially a floating city. Equipped with enough firepower to level a country, today we reveal the secrets that bind this elite community together, the codes that separate rookies from veterans, the traditions that honor the fallen, and the silent agreements that make the most dangerous workplace on Earth function like clockwork. You will not find these rules in any training manual. They are passed down through generations of sailors, whispered in berthing compartments, demonstrated on scorching flight decks, and earned through blood, sweat, and near misses from the color of your jersey, to where you stand from what you say to what you never mention. Every detail matters. These unwritten rules separate the aircraft carrier from every other military installation. They create a culture so unique, so tightly woven, that outsiders cannot fully grasp it until they have lived it. Let us pull back the curtain on this hidden world. The first unwritten rule every sailor learns comes from survival instinct. Never walk through the landing area during recovery operations, unless your job absolutely requires it. The arresting cables can snap with enough force to cut a person in half. Veterans have witnessed it. New sailors hear the stories during their first week aboard a 35,000-pound fighter jet, slams onto the deck at 150 miles per hour every 45 seconds during peak operations. One misstep, one moment of distraction, and you become a statistic. But carrier sailors are different. They do not freeze up. They learn to read the deck like a battlefield. They know which routes are safe, which areas are off limits, and most importantly, they trust the color-coded system that keeps 300 people working in organized chaos. The jersey system is officially documented, but the unwritten social hierarchy it creates runs much deeper. Purple shirts handle fuel, but they also carry an unofficial reputation for being calm under pressure. One spark around aviation fuel and the entire ship is at risk. Red shirts deal with ordnance and firefighting, earning respect that borders on reverence. Loading missiles and bombs onto fighter jets while the deck pitches in rough seas takes nerves of steel. Yellow shirts direct aircraft movement, and everyone knows you do not argue with a yellow shirt giving signals. Their hand movements are law. Green shirts operate the catapults and arresting gear, the machinery that launches and catches aircraft. A catapult officer known as a shooter holds the power to send a $70 million FA-18 Super Hornet from 0 to 165 miles per hour in 2 seconds. That shooter better be confident, because if those settings are wrong, the pilot goes into the ocean instead of into the sky. The unwritten rule shooters earn their authority through impeccable track records. One mistake and the whispers start. Brown shirts are the plane captains, often fresh out of boot camp, but carrying enormous responsibility. They are the first and last people to touch an aircraft each day. Despite their junior status, pilots trust them completely. The unwritten understanding experience does not always match rank on a carrier. A 19-year-old brown shirt who has been working on F-35s for 2 years might know more about that aircraft than officers twice his age. White shirts include medical personnel, quality assurance, and landing signal officers. The LSOs guide pilots during the most dangerous phase of flight, landing on a moving deck in all weather conditions. These are often former pilots themselves. The unwritten code here is simple. When an LSO tells you something about your approach, you listen. Their advice has saved countless lives. Blue shirts are the newest members of the flight deck crew. They are learning, watching, staying out of the way until they prove themselves. The unwritten rule for blue shirts is brutal but necessary. Keep your mouth shut and your eyes open. Ask questions during briefs, not during operations. Prove you can follow orders before you question them. Then there is the Rainbow Side Boys tradition. When distinguished visitors arrive by helicopter, the call goes out muster. The Rainbow Side Boys, 2 of each colored jersey, line up in formation to render honors. It is a display of unity, showing that despite different jobs, different ranks, different backgrounds, everyone aboard serves one mission, the unwritten element. This ceremony reminds sailors of their shared purpose, especially during long deployments when morale dips. Now let us talk about the berthing compartments where sailors actually live. Official capacity says 60 sailors share one compartment reality. Sometimes it is 80. With makeshift sleeping arrangements in passageways, the racks are stacked 3 high, each bunk barely wider than your shoulders. Personal space is measured in inches, not feet. Here is where unwritten rules become survival tactics. The cardinal rule: respect rack privacy. When someone draws their curtain, they are off limits unless it is an emergency. That tiny space is their only sanctuary aboard a ship with 5,000 people. You do not sit on someone else's rack without permission. You do not borrow their stuff without asking. And you absolutely never, under any circumstances, mess with someone's mail from home. Mail call is sacred when that whistle blows, announcing mail arrival. The ship's energy shifts for sailors who have been at sea for months. A letter from home can make or break their week. The unwritten understanding gives people space to read their mail. Do not ask questions if someone is upset. Do not make jokes. If someone does not receive anything, the pain of being forgotten while your friends get packages from loved ones is real and cuts deep. Another berthing rule: the middle of the night belongs to the night shift workers. If you are off duty and your roommates are sleeping because they worked all night, you move like a ghost. No lights, no noise, no conversations. They will extend the same courtesy when roles reverse. The flight deck spell-out is one tradition civilians find bizarre, but sailors treasure. The crew arranges themselves on the flight deck to form words or messages visible from aircraft overhead. The earliest recorded example dates back to 1936 aboard USS Lexington, spelling out Navy today. Every carrier continues this practice, but here is the unwritten meaning behind it. These spellouts serve as morale boosters during grueling deployments. When sailors arrange themselves to spell "Happy Birthday, Mom," or send messages to children battling cancer, they are reminded they are more than cogs in a machine. They are human beings supporting each other through the hardships of naval service. The photos get shared, families see them, and suddenly the deployment feels slightly more bearable. Steel beach picnics provide another morale boost. When the carrier has downtime in calm seas, the crew gets permission to set up grills, play music, and relax on the flight deck. Imagine having a barbecue on a 1,000-foot runway surrounded by FA-18 Super Hornets. That is exactly what happens. The unwritten code during steel beach picnics: rank matters. Less officers and enlisted personnel mingle more freely. Chiefs flip burgers alongside junior sailors for a few hours. The rigid hierarchy relaxes just enough to remind everyone they are on the same team. But nobody forgets themselves completely. There are still lines that do not get crossed, respectful boundaries that maintain good order and discipline. Holiday celebrations aboard carriers showcase American resilience and creativity. Thanksgiving at sea means the entire galley staff works overtime, preparing traditional meals. Officers and chiefs serve the crew. It is a tradition showing leadership's gratitude. Christmas brings decorations throughout the ship. Secret Santa exchanges and video calls home when satellite bandwidth allows the unwritten understanding. During holidays, we are all missing home together. The chiefs who volunteer to serve Thanksgiving dinner are not just following orders. They are acknowledging the sacrifice of separation. The sailor who shares care packages with shipmates who did not receive any is not looking for recognition. They are following the carrier code of looking out for each other. Let us address something rarely discussed: the mental health challenges of carrier life. Sailors work 12-hour shifts, sometimes longer, during flight operations. Sleep deprivation is constant. You might go weeks without seeing sunlight. If you work below deck, the noise is relentless. The roar of jet engines, the thunder of catapults, the crash of arrested landings, the hum of machinery that never stops. The unwritten rule that developed around mental health is both beautiful and heartbreaking. Sailors watch out for their shipmates. If someone is struggling, acting differently, withdrawing from the crew, their buddies notice. They will check in quietly, away from others. They will make sure the person knows where to find help. They will walk them to medical if necessary. Recent years brought increased attention to mental health resources aboard carriers, especially after tragic incidents revealed gaps in support systems. The Navy responded by adding more behavioral health technicians and counselors. But the unwritten support network among sailors themselves remains the first line of defense. Your rack neighbor might save your life just by noticing you are not okay and refusing to let you face it alone. Speaking of unwritten support, let us talk about the sailor's code regarding mistakes. Everyone makes them. It is inevitable in such a complex environment. The official response involves investigations, potential discipline, and corrective training. But the unwritten response from fellow sailors depends entirely on how you handle it. Own your mistake immediately, and the crew respects you. They will help you learn from it. They will share their own stories of screwing up and surviving. Try to hide it, blame others, or make excuses, and your market trust evaporates faster than jet fuel on a hot deck. Carriers cannot function without sailors trusting each other's competence and integrity. Break that trust through dishonesty, and you will find yourself isolated despite being surrounded by thousands of people. The maintenance crews live by their own unwritten rules. These sailors work brutal hours keeping aircraft catapults, elevators, weapon systems, and a nuclear reactor operational. They rarely get recognition because their work happens out of sight, below deck overnight during port calls. When everyone else goes ashore, their code is simple but profound. The mission succeeds because we do not fail. They take fierce pride in keeping systems running that most people do not even know exist. When pilots launch successfully, when the ship moves at 30 knots, when the lights stay on and the food stays cold. It is because maintenance sailors refuse to accept good enough. They demand perfection from themselves, because lives depend on it. The most powerful unwritten rule transcends all others. You never leave a shipmate behind. This applies literally during man-overboard situations. Every sailor aboard rushes to their station, the ship executes precise maneuvers, helicopters launch, and the entire carrier battle group focuses on rescue. But it also applies to daily life when a sailor struggles with a qualification. Others help them study when someone's family has an emergency. The crew rallies to cover duties so they can focus on what matters. When financial problems hit, experienced sailors share advice on managing deployment pay and avoiding predatory lenders. When someone feels homesick, others share stories, distractions, and hope this code creates a bond stronger than most civilian relationships. You are not just co-workers. You are living together 24/7 in a dangerous environment, completely dependent on each other's competence and commitment. The person sleeping 2 feet above you might be the one who saves your life during a fire. The sailor you help today might be the one who catches your mistake tomorrow before it becomes catastrophic. Aircraft carrier sailors share something increasingly rare in modern America, a common purpose that overshadows individual differences, political beliefs, religious views, regional backgrounds, economic status. None of it matters when the ship is under threat. The unwritten understanding is clear. We are Americans' first, sailors second, and everything else distant third. These men and women represent the finest aspects of military service. They volunteered to spend months away from families living in tight quarters, working dangerous jobs for the simple reason that someone needs to stand watch. They maintain readiness, so our nation can project power and protect interests anywhere on Earth. Within days, they deserve our respect, our support, and our gratitude. The unwritten rules governing life aboard aircraft carriers create a culture unlike anything else in American society. These codes ensure safety, build camaraderie, honor sacrifice, and maintain the combat readiness that makes our Navy the most powerful maritime force in history. They prove that the strongest bonds are not written in regulations. They are forged through shared experience, mutual respect, and unwavering commitment to mission and shipmate.